below. I hope you can all hear me, see me. Let me know where you're from and how long you've been playing the oud for. I'm gonna wait a few minutes, get this happening. I'm gonna talk a little bit about tunings today and other beginner stuff. Right. Hi, Brian. If you have any questions or anything you'd like me to discuss today, let me know. Put it in the chat. Hey Gary, how long have you been playing oud now? Here with some taksim. It's 9 a.m. for me here. Mark, good to see you. We talk about the upper pedal technique for sure. Good to see you again. mix of whatever comes to my mind. Mostly along the likes of Maqam Farafaza, or if you'd like to call it Maqam Nahawan from G. But not quite, I'm not sticking to the general form. Really good questions. I'd really like to dive into holding the oud a little bit, and that's really important, especially for people starting out. The first year or two is a battle with the holding the oud, but all of a sudden those things, like if you keep up with it consistently every day, it does all of a sudden disappear. You might get some physical pains along the way. That can happen. I definitely have my share. But all of a sudden you're playing the oud, and you're holding the oud fine. The biggest thing that people overlook is probably how high they need to get the oud up, and this is something that I struggle with still, given what tools I have here. I have a footstool right now that's like getting my foot off the ground by about almost a foot or so, or less than that. It's a high footstool. My chair is not ideal right now, and so you got to get this oud up. It's your arm's gonna get to where it needs to go the best when the oud is higher, and so you got to find out what is the lowest that the oud can be that allows your arm to get around it. And then you also got to find the pocket. If your arm is like short or something, or you're finding that you're not able to get around the oud, you've got to find that pocket where the oud is dipping into this pocket. You've got a pocket right here, and you can turn the oud on its side, angle the neck forward to create this pocket. That way your right hand will be a bit more relaxed and it has more room to get around. If you hold it like this, of course your arm is going to have to extend this way, and that's going to put some shoulder strain, some back strain. But if you find the pocket and put your oud in this pocket here, relax the arm a little bit, then it's going to be a bit better here. With the right arm, I'm going to turn on this other camera here so you can hopefully see this better. So we have, see where my forearm is touching the edge? We've got the forearm coming down straight to the strings, more or less. And this can vary depending on the person's size and other factors. But generally, you want to get back here behind the oud a little bit, maybe up here, and behind me, the only contact that's being made with the oud is the edge of the soundboard. This area here, it's digging into the forearm. That's important to get the right movement happening. If it is unhinged and your arm is forward and the edge is into the pocket, you may have a little bit less control. You have more muscles moving around and your elbow is not secure, your forearm is not secure, so it's not activating certain muscles that just need to be locked in there and moving. So I always recommend getting this edge of the oud digging into the forearm like that. And you can see this is free to rotate, alternate down and up. So another thing you may not see is that behind the oud, my shoulder is pressed against the back of the oud and also my chest. So actually the belly of the oud is actually touching from my shoulder through here to my chest. And if I had a bigger belly, I could probably fit that here too, underneath here. So size doesn't really matter. You will find a way how to do it. It's just that you got to explore and figure out what will work. For making this process easier, you definitely should use some kind of material to prevent the oud from slipping. You know, this kind of stuff that you put in drawers and things to prevent your cutlery and stuff from slipping around. Cut out some of that, get some from a dollar store or from a hardware store, and that will keep the oud here quite easily. Sometimes people use this, you know, when you got to perform for a long time or like got to practice for a long time. It's very helpful to keep the oud a bit more stable here, so that you don't have to adjust your legs so much. It'll just keep it a bit more stable, give you that extra edge. So by bending the right hand, it's a pretty wide angle. Let's see if you can see this here. So we've got about this much angle. You know, there's not much bend happening in the wrist. Hope that helps. That's what you're looking for. You can see how the comes around like this, right? So there's different degrees. Some people play with a harder angle like this. Some people play with a softer angle, but you never want to be so soft that your wrist is touching the bridge or your hand is touching the strings. You never want to do that. If you got to get over to the sound hole for whatever reason, you have to adjust where your forearm location is. Hopefully that gives you an idea. It's a very soft angle. However, like more steep angles do work as well. Let's see if I can get that back in spot. There's not a really big angle happening there. It's just floating above the strings. All right, let's see here. So let me know if that gave you the insight you're looking into the right arm. If not, I can revisit that. But that's basically it for the right arm. Pretend you're getting somebody in a headlock, you know, and get the oud up. You know, even this right now, this is a bit low for me. And what is very comfortable for me is if I cross my legs, get my oud up a little bit more. You can see how much that changes. And the oud is like right there. I can't see anymore. I have to pull the oud back in order to see the strings. So that will be one thing that gets in the way of your learning is if that you need to see what string you're hitting. You won't be able to see. So that's a bit of a challenge, but you do get over it. It's amazing what muscle memory can remember. And just search for the strings. Practice searching for the strings. Just hit wrong strings all the time when you're practicing. If you want to be able to not see over the oud and play, just search for the strings. Do an exercise where you're just hitting one string at a time. Go back and forth. Go to the lower strings. Question about the forearm. Thank you, Brian, for that. The forearm, that really depends. Like if I need to reach the sound hole to get a softer tone, I will soften the angle of my wrist, and I may bring my forearm forward. But if I need a harsher tone, stronger tone, you want to be playing around here anyway. That's mostly where the best sound comes from. So I guess it depends on every person, but regardless of if you're large or if you're small, most people are able to get it somewhere in between the forearm there. Let's see, should the forearm be moved back to avoid a steep angle? Yeah, it is dependent on the body shape. I mean, yeah, you do, if you want to avoid a steep angle, you do want to move the forearm back. That is true. So it doesn't really matter how far forward or backward your arm is, as long as you're hitting the right spot and you're playing fine. It's not hitting, destroying your playing. A lot of large guys are often complaining that their arm comes all the way back, all the way over here. Just move your arm back. That's all you got to do. And you just got to get used to it being there. Relax the shoulders a little bit, maybe. Find this pocket, adjust. Maybe you need to hold the oud more parallel to your chest so that you have more area to reach over. That way, for larger people with longer arms, maybe that will help. So you can adjust in many ways to figure out how to best hold this instrument. So yeah, it's going to be a struggle for the first couple of years. I suffered with the left hand a lot. Right hand wasn't so bad, but the left hand, I just I couldn't figure it out for the longest time. But all of a sudden, those things just kind of disappeared with perseverance. And I figured out, okay, I need to hold my fingers a little bit on an angle. I don't need to be using the ball of my fingers all the time, maybe the edge of my fingers to reach where I need to go. You can see that very clearly here in the image, how let's say I'm trying to reach that C note. My fingers are not vertical like this. They're on the edge, on the side like this. And think like a violin player. It's like that, and you can see I'm using the edge of my fingers to hit the strings, to touch the strings. My teacher, he had a funny technique around the bass strings, and he would often be jumping back and forth between first and second position. So he would play, let's say if he was doing A, B flat, C, he would jump from first finger to second finger. He would do these kind of leaps, which later on I realized that most oud players are not really doing that, especially Arabic and Turkish players. They're using 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of fingers. So that worked for me better. Discovering that helped me, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna try it the way he's doing it. I could do it after a while, and I did overcome that. I can play that like that if I want, but this is such a stretch for the fingers. Going back between first and second position. First position would be where your first finger is reaching the B flat note, the E flat note, A flat, D flat here, and then second position is where your index finger is reaching the B natural, E, A, and D. So he'd be switching like that a lot, and it's very jumpy. But if you stay in the first position, you can reach all those notes very comfortably without moving. So first position, second position is another one of those big things that oud players have problems with working out and getting used to going back and forth between them. And it's one of those things that you're just going to have to struggle through until you learn both positions nicely. First position, again, your hand is all the way to the left. And so you've got one finger per semitone. Like so. And then second position, you shift your index finger to where you've got the B natural note on the A string. Then you can reach a bit farther up on the neck. Like so. And we use the second position often when we need to do ornaments, when we need to reach the closed fourth degree, the fourth above the open string, so A to D. we use that. So let's say I need to do an ornament like a trill or something like that. There's different ways that you could move, but one way is to use fourth finger and second finger here to reach those notes. There's different ways. Another way that you could do that is to move your index finger even farther. Move your index finger to the C string, about here. Your accuracy needs to be good at that point in order to do that. And then you can use your third finger, which is very strong, to hit D, the closed D position. And you can do trills. Let's see. First position, you can do a lot of repertoire. First year or so, you can play all the repertoire in first position. All the maqams you can do. It just gets tricky when you want to work on the high C string. You want to reach that F. That's when you need to switch to second position. So for example, if you're playing maqam kurd is on A is A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A. So if you want to get up to that F, if the melody is taking you there, you have to switch at some point. You have to switch to your second position. You can play most of it all in first position. In first position. You can even go all the way up here. Go to the E. You can do that. But if you need to get to that F, then you need to switch. So let's say starting here, I get to the open C. I'm not using my left hand, so I can now angle my index finger. I don't even need to move the thumb. You can reach the second position just by changing the angle of your palm here. See how I'm moving from here to here. Back first position, second position. So when I do that, I go hit the open string. My hand gets ready for second position. And then I can magically reach that F note. Then at this point, I can decide to stay in second position as long as I want, until I need to reach a note that requires me to move my hand back to the left, like B flat. So I can do everything in second position here too. Until I need to reach B flat. First position. So this is very useful to remember, and you can always change your position. The easiest way to change your position is when you're hitting an open string. So you've got so many choices. You know, if you're going up the scale, A, B flat, C, D, you want to change the second position, do it on the D string when you're hitting the D string. Then you get into second position. You can stay there, go back. So these are some important things with the left hand that I didn't really know about for a long time and didn't really think about. All right, so very good questions. Can't wait to dig into some of these a bit more. Okay, Mark, you wanted a little intro into the upper pedal technique. I'm looking forward to showing you some exercises with this. It's very simple. It looks complicated because it's done very quickly usually. But the only thing you need to practice is a simple stroke order of down, down, up, 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 down, down, up. So use your first two strings, for example, at the beginning. Play a G for your first downstroke. I'll use a different color Risha so you can see this a bit better. So down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. That's all it is. It's just speeding up these simple things. And then you are choosing one of these notes to be the drone, one string to be the drone, and then you're using the first stroke to carry the melody. So all you need to do to practice to get that pedal technique is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Try to increase your speed. Get it to that speed. And keep cleaning it up, make it more precise. You can use any of the two open strings, and then we'll show you how we integrate the melody after that. And there's a very cool thing that oud players do in their taqsims, where they mix around tremolo and this down, down, up technique to continue the drone effect. They do this kind of thing. All right, let's get to more questions, and then we're going to talk a bit about tunings. I'll show you a few of my ouds here. Let's see. Okay. All right, how many ouds do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 ouds, and in where I live here, and then I have 2 ouds back at my parents' house in Canada. So I have nine ouds, but they're some of them I've obtained through business relationships, and others I've purchased myself. And a couple of them I'm just I'm holding on to with my business partners. They're not mine. Just demoing them, and yeah, they're actually for sale. So yeah, I own a handful of ouds, and most of them are Turkish made. I've got one Greek one, which was my I had one oud for many years, just one oud. My old oud made by Dimitri Rapakousios, and then I eventually got an oud made by the Iraqi maker Mohammed Fake Fadl, son of the famous Mohammed Fadl. That oud was not a very good oud. I still have it. It's not in good shape, and it's kind of rough. And a lot of these other Turkish ouds that I have, and most of them are Turkish made. Yeah. Yeah, so talk about how taqsims are structured. That's a really good question. I might be able to get into that. I'm going to talk a little bit about tunings right now, and then show you a few different ouds here and why we use different tunings. This oud is tuned in the general, straightforward Arabic way. Generally, when I refer to Arabic, I'm talking more about when we're talking about different tunings. In fact, we're really talking about how the low bass strings are tuned. There's a pattern with the oud tuning. The first 4 strings are always tuned 4 notes apart. So C, then G, then D, then A. From C to G, you got 4 notes. C, B, A, G, 4. From G to D, you've got 4 notes. G, F, E, D, 4 notes. Then D to A, same, 4 notes. D, C, B, A. All ouds are tuned that way for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the first 4 strings, all ouds are tuned that way in fourths. Turkish oud tuning is 1 step higher, so it's going to be D, A, E, B. But the technique stays the same because the intervals are the same. They're 4 notes apart. The bass strings are the ones that are always kind of changing. Even the high F tuning, I'll show you that right now. The Arabic high F tuning, anyway. The first 4 strings, hopefully this is in tune. First 4 strings, F, C, G, and then D. First 4 strings are all in fourths. Now, if you're let's say you use this tuning and you're Egyptian or something, you're probably going to tune your 5th course to an A, which makes you got fourths all the way down to the 5th string. F, C, G, D, A. And then you've got F over here as your bass string. But if you play Iraqi style, you may tune this A up to a C, which if you look at the intervals, that's very similar to the Arabic tuning, the basic Arabic tuning. There's 2 Arabic tunings. There's one Arabic tuning where the 5th course is tuned not an F but to a G. And so if you tune this high F tuning to C, this A to a C, you get equivalent of that tuning, except it's like 4 notes higher, the whole oud. So you can, and it's very interesting because these oud tunings are different at the beginning when you're a beginner, but in reality they are just the same thing. I'm gonna get rid of this camera here. Because you can play the same maqams. You know, you've got 5 courses which are consistent with each other. It's just that with the lower Arabic tuning, C to C, you have the low C. With the higher Arabic tuning, you've got the high F string, so you've got a bit of an increased range. But in between, you've got the same courses. You've got C, G, D, A, F. So you can play all the same repertoire. It's just that your technique changes depending on how you use the bass strings. So you can't, reference the low D so much. You have to do something different. So I can do the same kind of stuff. This is the Sultan Plus, made by Sultan Instruments and Yildirim Palabiyik. Yes, that's the one. I've put this on high F tuning just to play around. When you buy a new oud, this is something that people often have trouble with. They don't know what strings are on there. And the way that you can tell for sure that you've got, in most cases, that you've got the high F tuning. Let's see if I can get this going here again. This camera, I don't know what happened. So you can see this closely here. My battery's dying. That's why. Okay, so you see here you've got plain nylon, plain nylon, plain nylon. Then you've got wound string, metal wound, right? So that's how you can usually tell if your oud has the high F tuning or the low C tuning. If your first 1, 2, 3 strings on the bottom are nylon, plain nylon, not wound, 95% of the time that's going to be high F tuning. Some Egyptian ouds, they don't include the high F, or they don't include usually they don't include the high F, and they just have 5 courses on them, because they do that from the workshop. I don't know why, but sometimes you do see that. So you just have F, A, D, G, C, and you have an empty space here for the high F. So you can see that those 5 strings are the core, right? The core of the oud technique. And the extra high string is just superfluous, and the low bass string again is superfluous. Farid Al-Atrash, he played 5 courses, F, A, D, G, C most of the time, and you can see that in old recordings. And so that's how you can tell if you've got the high F strings on your oud. Let me show you one of the other tunings we use. So we've got 2 nylon strings, C, G, D, A, G, and then D. So this tuning, C, G, D, A, you can see the first 4 courses are the same, right? It's the low G and the low D that are tuned differently than F and C. So what this is used for is for when you need the G string as a drone all the time, or like in Gulf music, the Khaliji music that you hear in the Arab countries in the Gulf, and also the southern parts of Iran, and Yemeni music, of course. Their oud style, they always tend to need that G because they're playing a lot of open stuff. They're doing this kind of thing where they're always using that G as a bass tone. So it makes sense for their music to tune to a G because you always need it. And then the D is useful also, again, same idea. If you always need that D note, or you want to create a big resonant sound, you're playing, let's say, any maqam in D, Hijaz in D. So easy to get the oud. The oud sound just carries, resonates very nicely, very strongly. That's what that technique is for. You also get to reproduce certain fingerings that you have here on this D string. You can reproduce that. So anyway, those are some of the reasons why we use those tunings. My phone is dying, so I'm going to get rid of that camera. This is a tuning that's often used in Iranian music, Persian music. We often also use and require the G for the way that we play, and sometimes the D as well, sometimes C. So sometimes for Persian music, what my standard tuning for Persian music is to drop this down to a C. And so I've got C, G, D, A, G, C. That makes it very convenient for me to do a lot of the dastgah, maqams that we have in Persian music with a lot of resonant sound. perfect for Persian music. Sometimes we also tune down to an F for other modes that require that F resonance. Let's say we're doing something in the key of F. We sometimes do that too. So those are some of the reasons behind different tunings. There was a question with the old Arabic down tuning. Okay, I'm not sure which tuning this is referred to, but if I take a guess, back in the day, a lot of ouds were not tuned to standard C to C. They're tuned B or B flat. I'll show you an example of that. So this is an old Arabic, old Syrian oud, which does not like to be tuned to the standard C to C. It doesn't sound, it sounds off somehow. It doesn't sound great, but it sounds really good tuned to B or B flat. So I think right now it's B. So you get an idea. It's basically the same thing. It's just that we tune everything a little bit lower. Get that low rumble. This is a bit out of tune. Maybe I won't waste time with this. Yeah, a lot of Arabic ouds sound really good tuned down. Sorry, it's out of tune. I need a bit more time to tune this guy up. Yeah, this is a little bit of an antique oud, and it likes to be tuned lower. And so you would use it just for solo performances when I don't have anyone else to play with that, is not gonna make me tune to standard tuning. It sounds great. I love it. The interesting thing is that the high strings, they really have a nice strong treble sound, and so the highs really cut out. Even if it's a lower tuning, it just sounds like higher to me. So it's an interesting kind of phenomenon you get with some Arabic ouds. All right. Now this is Zeryab oud. This is a basic Zeryab. Sounds really good tuned lower as well, even though it's a shorter length. It's 58.5 centimeters from the bridge to the nut, but it still has a nice deep sound. I can put any oud strings on this, and it feels like normal tension. It's a very interesting phenomena. I usually don't get that experience on other shorter neck ouds, but yeah, this one performs. There are sometimes some Brian, good question about the string tension. There are some issues with the string tension. I find particularly, it depends on the string set you have, but I find that the Turkish wound strings are not bad. They're totally fine tuning them down. It's the G and the C, the treble courses, that are a little bit low, on the low tension side. Like what I've done in the past, which I really liked, the Dario Oud strings has 2 sets, the Arabic set and the Turkish set. And what I've done in the past is I've switched out strings from each because I preferred the higher tension on shorter length ouds for the wound strings. The wound strings were perfect in Arabic tuning. They worked fine. But the treble strings were a bit low tension, so I took the treble strings from the Arabic set, put them in here, so I was using a mix of their Turkish and Arabic string set, and it was working great for 58.5 centimeter ouds. But yeah, it's mainly in these strings. These are a little bit too loose and jangly. They don't perform well, but the low bass strings generally are forgiving. They're pretty good. I find that like the tension of the third course, D or E, in Turkish sets to be quite high tension, so it works well with lower tension too. All right. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Thanks for joining me today, guys. And this month we have some promos as usual on oud lessons. I might be doing a discount on all my oud lessons for Black Friday. So if you're on the newsletter list, stay tuned if you want to get into some of my courses. I'm not too sure yet what the plans are, but they'll be getting solidified within the next week or so. And I will, of course, announce it. Got some good plans for YouTube videos coming up. Really some stuff that I've avoided doing for many years, talking some videos on oud strings, for example. I've avoided that topic. I'm looking forward to tackling it though, and give you some suggestions on oud strings, give you the lowdown on what I think about them and all that. Some other good beginner oud lessons going to happen as well on YouTube, so do stay tuned for that. And as usual, if you're having any trouble or challenges, I'm always available by email if you want to send me a question. Sometimes I don't get to emails very quickly, but I will do my best to get to them. And yeah, I also have some slots open for oud lessons, private one-on-one on Zoom. For US time zones, that would correlate to the early evening Pacific or the evening Eastern time on Friday nights, so around this time. I've got some openings on Friday nights for oud lessons. If that's what you like doing on Friday night, is delve deeper into oud. That's what I would be doing if I was single, and I'd be spending my Friday nights probably learning something on oud. And yeah, so do check that out. Send me an email if you're interested. My email, of course, is support@OudforGuitarists.com. And yeah, that's about it for today. If you're looking to buy an oud, there's also promo happening on some of the ouds on the website. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff happening. Stay tuned on the newsletter and you'll probably hear about it. But yeah, and great, thanks for coming out. It's really happy to see all these people here today. Yeah, great. Joe, good to see you. I'm really liking what you're doing and putting out on YouTube. Really keep up the good work. All right, have a good one. Bye.